Hello everyone, Lisa here. Welcome to What's Crafting Wednesday. Actually on Wednesday, so I'm happy about that. Everyone seemed to really like last week's card, and Strawberry Slush seems to be a big hit with the new in colors. So in case you missed it, here's last week's card, the envelope. Did a little corner fold so it showcases both sides of the DSP. So let's go ahead and jump right in and have our drawing. So I have my tickets here with everybody's names on them. So let me drop them in my trusty gold bag. Okay. And my little shaking and my little mixing. And let me grab a ticket here. Feels like I have two in my hand. I think it is two. Mix it up again, see if I can grab just one ticket. All right, that feels like one. And our lucky winner is Christine. Well, congratulations, Christine. And thank you, everyone, for your comments. I'll just show the card again. And open. And the envelope. All right, everyone. So tonight we are welcoming Timid Tiger. That's the name, right? Timid Tiger. Yes, it is. A lovely orange color. And I have a pretty yet I feel simple card tonight. Very easy to make. What do you think about the shape of this card? I first was going to make it this way, and then I thought, no, I think I like it this way. So let me tell you about this and how I got this shaped card. If you have been joining me the past couple of weeks, you know each week this month I am featuring the Impressions Abloom, stamp set, dies, DSP, the suite. Tonight I did not use any of the dies from this suite though, just the stamp set and the paper. But I got the shape of this card from these new dies. Take a look at the size of this package. These are called Party Banners dies, and let me just show you everything you get in this set. If I can pull it out of here, just a moment. After I added in my magnet sheet, it got a little thick. Okay, so this is just awesome for making party banners, but there's so much more you can do with it. I've been going through my little mind how to make treat holders with it, but then I decided, let's make a shaped card. So I use the 5th and the 6th dies. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is the one that I use to cut out the card. And then the next one down I used for the DSP and the basic white layer on the inside. And then for the sentiment, I use the smallest and the second smallest. So I'm just going to pull the smallest one out now. Because we will be using this one here for die cutting the sentiment once I stamp it. Let me just lift that off there. That is the right one. Yes, it is. Okay. So let me put our dies here off to the side, and then we will get started. I have everything prepared here. I have already die cut all the pieces, but what you do with the card is it's cut a standard 4 1/4 by 11, and I scored it, and then I took the die 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I took the die and I placed it over wrong one. That is the one for the layer. Let me see, is this the right one here? Yes. So I cut this standard 4¼ by 11 that you would usually use for a card base, scored it 5½, and then when I placed the die on the cardstock, I had it already folded on the score, and the cut line here I placed above the score line, and then I die cut it. So I got the shape of the banner, but it did not cut the top because I had the cut line above the score. Okay, so let's get started here. I have a basic white envelope. I have cut a basic white piece for the inside and a piece of DSP for the front. I have a piece of basic white for stamping and die cutting, and then I have a piece of Timid Tiger already cut for the layer of the sentiment. And here is the DSP, and it is the Floral Impressions. Beautiful, beautiful paper. And I'm using just a little piece of the Timid Tiger ribbon and the 2025 to 2027 in color flat pearls. So let's get started on this. I'll show you the inside of the card. I did thanks on the front. I did keep the inside without an additional sentiment. And how about that? How pretty is that? I just think that is so beautiful. All right, so let's get started here. Very easy. We're going to just adhere the DSP layer to the front of the card. And whenever I add a layer, I always like to open the card up rather than adhere it while the card is folded. All right, so now we will stamp our sentiment. And I'm using Timid Tiger ink. And thanks. And now I'll bring in my mini cutting machine. And I'm just going to place the die over my stamped sentiment, and we're going to run it through the die cutting machine. Just make sure I have it straight on there, and add my top plate. And that noise you hear, in case you're not familiar with die cutting, that is normal. That is when, it's just from the thickness of the die when it's going through the machine. And I did a little bit of sponging. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but I did do a little bit of light sponging. So we're going to do that next. And you want to keep the die on here when you do it. Well, you actually don't have to. You could just sponge around. But if you keep the die on it, you get that nice little thin white border. And then then it shows your sponging. So let me put the die back on there. And get my blending brush. And when you sponge, you always want to start off the paper first. And then bring it in. And I'm just going to keep turning it around. A little more ink. Because if you don't start off the paper first, you could end up with splotches when you sponge. And we don't want to have any splotches, right? All right. Just back over here. I think that's good. And I added just 2 little leaves there just to give it a little more color. So I used garden green. And I just stamped partial leaves. One up that direction, and then one coming down this direction, yes. And then we'll just glue this down. You don't have to sponge. I just thought that was a nice little addition. A little more color to it. And you can see, I hope you can see the white border now from where the die was. And this one here I did sponge a little heavier than the sample. So now we just need a little piece of our ribbon here. I didn't use much. And as you can see, I did find glue dots since last week's video. So what I did with this first, I took a glue dot and I put it down on the ribbon just to make my little loop. And then I brought that around. And I could probably angle it a little more. I think I angled it a little more on my sample. Okay. And then you're going to place this, just so you have the right location for your ribbon, wherever you want to have this. We'll put it right there. And then I used a glue dot to adhere the ribbon down. So now you know where you want to put your sentiment, so then you can just place your ribbon. Okay, perfect. And we're going to use dimensionals to adhere this. Oh, let's get our dimensionals down. Can I go with one in the middle? Oh my goodness. I'm going to try one in the middle. I hope I can sleep tonight. Let's hope it doesn't wobble on me. If it does, I'll be up all night fretting over it. Now, oh, embellishments. Let's get our pearls here. These are so pretty, so shimmery. Don't know if you could see it in the camera, but these are very pretty. So I'm going to put the medium one up in the top, and then we'll use a large and a small. Oh, where'd my small one go? I must have pulled this off without the backing. I did. I see the backing still on here. All right. Try that again. I have the backing on it now. Okay. And for the inside, I just stamped a few flowers. Open this up so I remember where I stamped them. And what I did when I stamped the first one, I stamped and then I rotated the stamp and I rotated the stamp again, just so the flowers, each one didn't look exactly the same. And we're going to stamp off, and then we will stamp, and then I'm going to rotate, stamp off, and rotate, stamp off, and then we'll do that one there. Now I think with this flower, if you stamped full strength, you don't even need to add the overlay, but I didn't stamp full strength. I stamped off, and we're going to add the overlay, which is very pretty. And this will go full strength. Just move this so I can see. Okay, and then again, we're going to turn it. And then turn it one more time. And we'll add the centers. And then a little overlay with the early espresso. And I did rotate this as I stamped. And now we're just going to put a stem on the outer flowers. Just kind of curved it here. And then we'll do this one here as well. And then I added some partial leaves. Okay. I don't know about you, but I think this looks very pretty. I hope you think so as well. And if you wanted to add another sentiment on the inside, you could, because with this stamp set, there is one that goes along with the thanks. You could type, we did thanks, and on the inside you could then stamp so very much or for being there. But I decided to leave it blank. You have plenty of room for writing a nice message. And now we have the envelope. Back to our flower here. And we're going to stamp off again. And I just did two partial flowers. One, and we're going to turn it. And then now we have the overlay. And don't forget to turn. And then I'm just going to add some partial leaves. And that, my crafty friends, is tonight's card. So here is my sample. With the pretty envelope. And then here's the one that we just made. Okay, oh goodness, I forgot to stamp the centers. So let's get this envelope finished. I didn't even realize. Did anyone else realize I hadn't stamped the centers? Okay, now we are finished. Yeah, that looks a lot better, doesn't it? Okay, everyone, so let me know what you think about Timid Tiger. What you think about this card. If you like the shape, or do you prefer a traditional shape card? I've always liked shaped cards. So I look reading your comments, finding out what you think about tonight's these dies. Again, so much you could do with these. And these come individually. They also come as a bundle with an alphabet set. So yes, of course, I did have to get the bundle. I'm picturing all these banners I'm going to make. So let's hope I have the time to make all these things I want to do with this fabulous set. Okay, everyone. Again, thank you for joining me. We have one, I think there's only one Wednesday left in this month. So next week I may combine the two blues and do one card, since I'm out of Wednesdays. Some months we're lucky and we have 5. This month is 4. So I instead of carrying over into June for the final one, I think I may combine the colors next week. But we'll see. I may change my mind before then. Okay, so everyone, as always, I wish you a wonderful and crafty week. Don't forget my special this month. Everyone that purchases the suite, the entire suite of this collection, as a bonus, you get your choice of the new in color pearls, the new ones from this year or the current ones from last year. So take advantage of that special. Speaking of specials also, we do have our sign-up special right now. For $99, you get to choose $165 worth of Stampin' Up! Product. How awesome is that? Any questions on that? Let me know. We'll have a chat. Text me, email me, send me a private message. I'd love to have you join my Crafting Princesses team. Okay, everyone, I will be seeing some of you Friday. I'm doing a second Exploding Box class for those that were not able to make last class. And Saturday is my annual In Color card class. If you have not signed up for that yet and you would still like to attend, please let me know by tomorrow. We have an awesome group coming. Okay, everyone, stay warm. I am absolutely freezing today. Actually, yesterday as well. Does not feel like May. So stay warm and stay crafty. Stamp something great this week, and I'll see you back here next week. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a great evening. Bye, everyone.